Welcome to this week's show. Great to have you with us as we are down to the last 5 games of the regular season. Then tournament play is right around the corner. Hard to believe we're almost there. Red Devils have another tough weekend ahead. They will play KOKOMO coming up on Friday here at the Tiernan Center, and then make that long road trip to Logansport coming up on Saturday. Head coach Rick WEDLOW again with us this week. And, you know, we were kind of talking about that schedule, and we'll get to that more in depth here in a couple of moments. But that's tough when you think about playing KOKOMO at home, and they got a pretty good basketball team. They're starting to play well right now. Then you turn around and you go to Logansport, make that long road trip, and they're starting to play well right now too. So
yeah, you know, our conference is pretty tough this year. You know, obviously we had an opportunity there with McCutcheon that's undefeated in the conference, and you know we're up 4 with you know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes to go, and we're right there and not able to get that done. And it just shows you, and that was after a tough outing at Newcastle. And it just shows you that there's something there with our kids. We're just struggling to put it all together, night in and night out. You know, we've had early in the year we were rebounding a lot better. Our transition game was a lot better than what it is, and defensively I thought we were a lot better. And you know, here along the way, you know, we haven't been able to defend and get the kind of stops or the amount of stops that we need consecutively to give ourselves a chance to have more possessions. I mean, our possessions were up to 65 to 70 possessions a game. Wow. They're down a little bit, and you know, we're just not rebounding well enough. And our turnovers have peaked up a little bit over the last few weeks, and you know, so I'm just looking to see if our kids can grow from some of these same mistakes that we've made all year. But like you said, I mean, you know, we played a tough Lafayette Harrison team, and you know, they had they posed some problems for us with their size. They were a bunch of 6'2" guys, bunch of 6'3" guys. You know, nobody really exceptionally talented, but they all could play. They all could put the ball on the floor. I mean, they all can make plays for each other. And, I mean, they did a good job against our zone. Man failed us there a little bit. We just wasn't able to talk. But you know, I've seen some good stuff out of our guys. You know, when we're playing right, I mean, it's some good basketball. You know, we just got to continue to work hard and, you know, keep our guys up and make them believe, you know, that they're a good team.
Yeah, you know what, and you're exactly right. You're playing against other teams that are a lot better than I thought, and we'll talk about Anderson here in a couple of moments too. I mean, you talk about Long and Athletic and how they're under the 500 mark. I don't really know how, but you're playing some teams that are probably better than we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Anderson, you look at their record. They were 6-10, very comparable record as ours, and you know, just one of those deals where you know, they were a lot better than what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
I knew we had a challenge. I mean, from our pregame talk, I told you these kids play as hard as anybody I've seen them play. Yeah. They crashed the boards, which they really kicked our tail on the board. And they've got some guys that can play. They can do some stuff off the bounce. They're bigs, you know, those types of bigs that they utilize, 6'4", 6'5" guys that can get to the hole and do some things like that. It's tough.
It is, yeah.
And it's tough for Keyshawn, it's tough for Jake, and it's tough for Jordan to try to stay in front of those guys. And, you know, when you're in your zone, you're not rebounding, you're just trying to figure out what can we do to stop these guys. And we have to figure out, you know, if you know, how we're going to utilize our zone, and then we have to do a better job, you know, winning our matchups.
Yeah. Tell you what, Boyd and Beverly, you talk about two guys that are 6'4" and 6'5". It sounds good. I love the background noise. 6'4", 6'5" guys that could really get up too. I mean, Beverly had a couple of dunks there, were just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and kids like that we just don't have. We just right now we just don't have that type of athlete here in Richmond. And all year, if you go back to the North Central game, the Donald Lees and those guys, 6'4", 6'5". They're playing them at the 4 and the 5, but they're really guards. They're really big guards and small forwards, and really give our guys some problems, our big guys some problems. And so it's tough to man those guys. there have been nights where we like to use Jacob Jones a little bit more. We like to give Coach Davis some run, but there's just some tough matchups for them, for the kind of guys they have to guard. And so, we just got to continue to develop our young guys. I'm really challenging our youth coaches to look for any kid that looks like they'll have length down the road, where they're a little awkward right now, where they don't play very well right now. Let's get them involved in the game, and let's not wait late for them to start liking basketball. For us right now, we have some bigs that just haven't played a lot. Jake has played a lot of basketball, but Keyshawn and Jordan, they just haven't played a whole bunch. Over the last 7 or 8 years.
Sure.
And they're giving it everything they have, and we're very fortunate for their efforts. And they're just going to continue to work hard, and we're going to try to get them better and try to give them enough confidence to make the plays they need to make. Obviously the engine of our team has been Christian Harvey, and Christian's just been fantastic. I mean, he's given us everything he has. We're asking him to do a lot. He's scoring, he's rebounding, he's sharing the ball pretty well. I like to see some of our other guys step up and match his intensity and his drive and his determination, because we're playing 8 or 9 guys a night. We just don't have the production out of all 8 or 9 guys, and production isn't particularly scoring. Production is, winning the matchup defensively, getting some offensive rebounds, get down the pass lane, get some steals, doing something to inspire our team. And Friday, after a tough loss Thursday, we came in here and probably had one of our toughest practices that we had in a long time. It was just 2-man rebounding, 3-man rebounding, 4-man rebounding, a lot of defensive stuff. And that's the kind of week we're going to have this week, because somewhere along the ways, we've lost touch with some of the techniques and fundamentals that we were really working on early enough. So what I pledge to our guys is that we're going to find 20, 25 minutes a day where we're going to do a lot of rebounding stuff. We won't get. I don't expect us to get rebounded like that. At least I hope we don't get rebounded like that again, because, when you give the effort defensively for teams to take tough shots and things like that, if you don't get the rebound, those failed efforts can be demoralizing.
Yeah.
And for some of our kids, when we're not, we're not the mentally toughest team. Sometimes some of those, those breakdowns, it creates moments of, uncertainty for some of our guys. And when we're not certain what we're doing, it causes us some problems. And so we want all of our kids just play hard, play tough, and let whatever is going to happen.
They'll have to play tough this weekend. As we mentioned, KOKOMO Friday, then on the road at Logansport coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about those two matchups coming up next, right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
For the past 35 years, Van Vliet Insurance has built a reputation of bringing a personal touch. That's because at Van Vliet, it's all about you, your needs, your life, and our town. Along with providing quality coverage to individuals, families, and local businesses, we're proud of our community and the opportunity we have to protect your future within it. Van Vliet Insurance, an Erie Insurance representative. Hometown professionals at work for you.
Well, as mentioned before the break, the Red Devils will play KOKOMO Friday and then on the road at Logansport coming up on Saturday. It's the second year in a row, I think, that we've done this now, where you've played now a back-to-back conference weekend, and that's something because of the scheduling aspect of it. That's how that has transpired. What has to change about that? That's probably something not ideal and something we haven't seen until maybe the last year or so.
Well, this scheduling conflict or situation arose my first year as a head coach when we had the NCC tourney. When we had the NCC tourney, it was pretty much the first full year of full competition. Of course, with Tech, McCutcheon, Harrison and Jeff. And obviously the NCC tournament, it didn't go as expected, and the coaches, we all decided that it was best that we just play everybody head to head. There are some talks about maybe creating an East and a West division, which I think might be better for traveling perspective. But, I mean, make no bones about it. I mean, last year was a tough weekend for us. Last year we went up to KOKOMO on a Friday night. We played KOKOMO tough. Again, we got out-rebounded that night. Rebounding was a big factor in that game. I think we come up short, 3 or 4 point game. And then we turn around. Logansport, I think, top 3 in the state, 4A. I think we're up 7 on them and in the fourth. And we just wasn't able to sustain an offensive and defensive presence. And then here again this year, it's, not, being winless in the conference is tough. It's tough. Having to face these guys back to back is a huge, huge challenge. It's already tough to prepare and game plan on any week of back to back, but when it's back to back from a conference perspective, it's really tough.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to have to try to do is today, we're going to try to be ahead of where we normally are during the week. Somewhere along the way, our kids just aren't able to apply the scout and the game plan on the games, and so we normally give them a couple days, and so we're going to try to give them a couple extra days this week to absorb. Excuse me. To absorb what we're trying to do, and in terms of personnel and how we want to guard certain people, and changing of our defenses, and give them a little bit more information as far as guarding out of bounds plays and some of the most utilized sets and offenses that and defenses that our opponents are using. And so we're going to try to give them a little bit more information. We like to focus on ourselves Monday and Tuesday, but we're going to have to be really creative on how we focus on ourselves Monday and Tuesday, but also focus on KOKOMO and Logansport as well, because they both present some huge challenges. Again, both of these teams are the kind of teams that they don't have your traditional big man. Mm-hmm. They have great guard play, which I think our guard play should match their guard play. Their wings are 6'4", 6'5", but they're wings. They're not bigs, and so we have to figure out a way how to slow those guys down. Anthony Barnard is a tough cover. Jeremy Baker, sophomore. Who we've been in the same AU program as far as with George Hill. He's going to be a tough matchup for us. And then Saturday night, you have Skaggs, who's coach's son, and you have Penny, who's he's come from a good bloodline, a good family of basketball players, as well as they have some other guys that can play. So both of these teams are kind of middle of the pack. I think that obviously. You look at a team like Anderson, they only won like 1 or 2 games, maybe 1 game in the conference, 2 now by beating us. It's tough to get a win. Anderson is a good team. Yeah. They're very athletic, and they pose a lot of problems. And the Red Devils, we got to get back to a place where we pose problems for 32 minutes, like we have done it from time to time. But it's all about defensive efforts. It's all about rebounding. We got to get a lot better efficient offensively. We've been working on some stuff to create more body movement, 5 guys moving, kind of spacing and cutting a little harder. I mean, our ball screen, when I look at film, we just haven't done a good job of setting good ball screens. We're getting called for offensive fouls, which can be twofold. It can be the guard moving too fast, not letting the screen set, and then our guys aren't getting there and getting set, and they're moving. Mm-hmm. So things like that we have to clean up. We have to attack the ball screen a lot better, and then we got to look at some other offensive stuff, the concepts, action that we can do without ball screens. Because when you get Christian in the mix, what they're doing with Christian is they're double teaming him, sometimes triple teaming him. Most times he's making the right decision, but sometimes he's a little late giving up the ball. But that becomes with trust, and our other guys got to step up so Christian can trust him a little bit more and make the right play. Christian's he's a unselfish player when guys are doing what needs to be done, but sometimes our guys don't give him enough. I won't say give them enough is not the right word, but we don't make the right plays that need to be made when we have the numbers. If there's 2 or 3 trapping him or loading up on him, it's got to be a 3-on-2, 3-on-1 on the back end with good ball movement. We just got to execute those 3-on-2 opportunities, and it's that simple.
Hey, before I let you go, though, Ricky had a great game against Anderson. I mean, he shot with a lot of confidence. It was one of those games you knew he had in him. Still a sophomore, got to remember that. But I thought he really played well on Thursday.
Yeah, and it's so good to see Ricky play like that and shoot the ball like that. We still feel like he hangs on that 3-point line too much. But when he shoots it as well as he does, it's tough. It's tough because there's been games where he shot the heck out of the basketball, and there's some games where he didn't. But David Cruz tells me all the time, man, Rick's okay. He's fine. He's a sophomore, and he'll be all right. He'll be all right. And we try to speed up his growth and development, but he is who he is. He just turned 16. He's a sophomore. Again, I talked to you before. I'm just really concerned about him giving effort and doing other things other than scoring to help our team win. And we ask a lot out of Rick too. I mean, if you notice, he shows up on the scout, and against Anderson, they had Boyd on him, and they had the other Beverly on him, and those guys are 6'4", 6'5", and he got his shots off on those guys. And so Rick can get his shots off on anybody because the way he elevates on his jumper. But we like to see him still attack the basket, get strong, get to the foul line a little bit more. So Bricky has a bright future. Kareem has been doing well. If you notice, our JV's been playing a lot better. Our practices have been very competitive. JV and varsity practice together. And I think the JV team has gotten a lot better because they're going up against varsity every day. Yeah. And, the challenge for any JV team is not having a scout, not knowing what to expect from another JV team. But if you notice, our JV kids are playing hard, and that's the future. A lot of those kids are kids that I've had since 3rd grade. You're looking at Marquise Thomas, Darius Porfidio Brown, Trey Laswell, Tyson Deloney. Tyson Deloney is really helping out that team. You look at the transfer, Jordan Stoley. Unfortunately, he got limited eligibility. He's a sophomore. And so we have some really good sophomores in place. And so the next couple years, we should be really making the moves that we expect to make. Now, we don't want to wait till next year to make them. We have sectional here, and we just want to play our best basketball in the next 3 or 4 weeks. A lot of kids have been sick and with flu and sinus stuff, and we can get through that, keep guys healthy, keep guys fresh, and, take a look at some of these JV kids that are really playing hard. There's just a couple of them I think that might be able to help us come sectional, but I just want them to get their reps, bring them up to speed with our offensive sets, bring them up to speed what we're trying to do defensively, and I think there's 2 or 3 of them that's going to end up helping us. We're gonna take a look at them this week in practice. Good. My wife tells me all the time, Tyson Deloney is your secret weapon. He's the guy that can give you that little spark, and our kids love Tyson, and Tyson has worked really hard. As far as offensively, he's handling the point this year over the last few weeks, and done a great job with that. And he's shooting the ball well. He's just a smart kid. I mean, I think Tyson can help us down the road this year. I know he'll help us next year, but we're very, very confident that our JV kids can give us a spark in a few areas, and we're not quite sure what that looks like, but we've given our varsity guys plenty of opportunities, and we're not giving up on any of them. But I think some of these JV guys are warranted an opportunity to see what they can do.
Yeah, they played well against Anderson, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So, all right, Coach, good to see you again, sir. Good luck this week.
Appreciate you, Troy.
As always, we will be in action on Friday, Saturday, both games, as always, right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.